Not for Beach Talk Radio, many people would have remained unaware of what you've been up to. Thank you, Beach Talk Radio, for having our backs and keeping everyone informed. You clearly have Fort Myers Beach residents' best interests in mind.
This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Live from Peach Time Out in the heart of Times Square, you're listening to Beach Talk Radio with Kim and Ed Ryan.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode number 118. We're broadcasting live from Peach Time Out on Fort Myers Beach in the heart of Times Square. Welcome to everyone watching from around the country, as well as those right here on the beach. We are live on the Facebook and also on YouTube every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. And the audio from every episode is uploaded to our website, beachtalkradio.com, and that's done within 24 hours. In case you don't want to look at us, you can just listen to the audio anytime you'd like to on any app that you like to listen to podcasts on, including Apple and Spotify and iHeartRadio and whatever else is out there that puts podcasts out. We want to say thank you to all of our great sponsors: Mango-Ritas, Carla's Custom Painting Furniture Creations, CCG Certified Public Accountants, IslandOils.com, Fort Myers Tiki Tours, Shuckers in the Cottage Bar, and our longest sponsor and supporter, Peach Time Out. Thank you all. We'll have more information about all of our sponsors as the show goes on. We have a lot to talk about today. A lot has been happening all week long, even though things are going to be on a break. But before we get to our first guest, we wanted to kind of talk about the dune walkover situation, because we had the town issue a statement yesterday. The town of Fort Myers Beach issued a statement yesterday where they posted it on their website, and they sent an email alert out to the residents about the dune walkover, and that they are ready and willing and able to mediate the situation with Eddie Rude and Kurt Cromer, who have backed out of the mediation. And they say they backed out of the mediation because the town wasn't responding in a timely fashion, and they were kind of delaying things. And so here we are now getting ready to go to a lawsuit. And we wanted to talk about that real quick, because I don't think I've ever seen the town issue a statement like that. And, you know, is it that they issued it because they feel like they need to CYA, or they need to, I mean, why do you think they issued that statement last night? They said it had something to do with social media posts.
Right. They didn't want stuff playing out in social media. I think they felt that their side of the story wasn't getting out, so they needed to issue it. And I mean, listen, everybody talks about transparency, so just go ahead and get it out. I understand people don't want news and information maybe played out on social media, but this is the platform with which people are starting to use and have been using, and it's well within the rights of the other side to say what they want on social media. So I think it's a good idea to get your side out, to get your point out. And
so I just want to make sure everybody knows we're not taking sides, whether or not the dock should be built or the dune walkover or whatever it is. The walkover from Eddie Rude's house, which is like 1,500 feet or something. I mean, it's a big dock. We're not taking sides on that. So those of you who think that because we're not taking the town side doesn't mean that we're taking their side. We're just trying to get as much information out there as we can. And I thought, did they say that it was like COVID-19, the town, in that alert yesterday? It was kind of like COVID-19 was why they couldn't really come to an agreement on a date or something like that.
That there was also a lot of people that schedules needed to get coordinated for that to happen. Now, I would think that is for certain an issue. During the COVID issue, I would think people are doing less and they're home. So it would have been easier to coordinate to do something on Zoom, but maybe that's not an allowable platform.
It was totally allowable.
Use.
I mean, even
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
Here's my question with the town. If they're going to use the COVID-19, not excuse, but if that's the reason why, then you can't say that all the people that were concerned about the Bayside Park building going in should have known what was going in, because they were dealing with COVID-19 too. And they were having these meetings, the town was, all through COVID-19 on Zoom, and after they were meeting again. So you can't have it both ways.
Well, I think that what they said was that there was an agreement by both sides to postpone the meeting. And then
You're talking about the Dune walkover meeting.
Yes. And
Well,
then
not-
I don't know
right.
how, because of COVID, and in addition to coordinating a lot of people's schedules. And then I don't know where the breakdown occurred, but I imagine if we get information
Okay,
that can parse that out,
Right.
we'll certainly pass it on.
And here's the other thing that we wanted to share with you guys, and that we requested some emails that have gone back and forth last Thursday. I know that's not a lot of time, but last Thursday we requested some emails between the town and Rude's attorney, and going back and forth on setting the dates. I even talked to the mediation guy who's I think he's in Sarasota. He was very nice. And he didn't, I asked him, was it the town delaying this meeting? Is that the reason that this thing is they pulled out? And he wouldn't give an answer to that. He wouldn't answer that. He didn't say yes, he didn't say no, but he wouldn't answer. He said, you got to talk to the people down there.
Right.
So we requested the emails from those communications that they had, and we haven't gotten them yet, which isn't a big deal. It isn't a big deal. It's only been 48 hours. Now,
Right.
The reason I bring that up is because past requests that we've made for information have been within 24 to 48 hours. Like, I asked for information. The Lani Kai had redone their parking lot. They resealed their parking lot, and they got violations for it. They got some kind of code violation for it, which I thought was ridiculous. It was during the COVID-19 thing. And I asked for a bunch of information, and they sent me like files and files and files and pictures and things that they had to send me in Dropbox almost the next day. So, I'm not saying they're delaying things. So I'm just saying that it just seems like it's a little different now. And the other thing is that when I asked the second time, I heard the word redacted, that they were going to have to go through the emails and look for anything that needs to be redacted. That word has never come up in anything I've ever requested from the town before. You can't redact anything. There's no lawsuit.
Well,
You can't redact anything. It's an open state. You have to just provide the information in a timely manner. And if I have to pay for it, I have to pay for it. I get that. It's your time that you're putting in. But it just seems a little bit odd.
well, why don't you just wait and see what we get? See how long it takes and see what we get.
Well, here's my other thought. If it goes on much longer and the homeowners do file the lawsuit, then I can't get them because now they're evidence. So that's what makes me wonder. And that's a bit of a conspiracy thought there, but I'm just wondering if I'm going to.
Again, we are not taking sides
That's right.
on this issue. And in fact, for me, it is what it is. I support the environment probably more than you do. It's an interest more of mine than yours. But at the end of the day, it's got to be figured out who's got the rights for this and who's got the rights for that, and that area is protected and who is responsible for protecting it. I mean, there's been a lot of changes with the mean high tide line. There's been a lot of things that other folks have done, had beach access, no beach access. So, I mean, you just got to look at each individual item. It's not that simple.
Right.
I'm flabbergasted, really.
Here's the thing that I think is a fair question. The town residents may decide they want to fight this. They don't want a dock over that area. It's not being proposed in the critical wildlife area. I think we agree it's on the edge of what might be a critical wildlife area. There's still a question as to whether those boundaries were drawn legally, which is something we've asked for from the DEP and haven't been able to get. But anyway, so let's say that the town residents decide, hey, yeah, we don't want that. The town will fight it. The town will fight it all the way to the end. And even if they lose the lawsuit, there won't be a dock.
There won't be a board.
Whatever it is, the dune walkover dock, and back on Long Island we call it a dock.
Okay, whatever.
You'll win that, and there won't be anything. But there's a huge price to pay for that. There might be a huge price to pay for that. So I think it's fair for the town to put out an estimated dollar amount. We're going to take this all the way to the court. We might win, and it might not cost that much money. we might lose. And if we lose, here's how much we could lose. And the worst case scenario would be the town owes Eddie Rude and Kurt Cromer for their whatever value of their house was lost, which would be in the millions, plus all of the legal fees. Not only their legal fees, but the legal fees of Rude and Cromer. So it's many millions of dollars. Wouldn't you agree? But the dock won't go in.
Right.
So I think it's fair for the town to say we could spend $50 million or $10 million, or you could win and get some of your money back. And that's a crapshoot at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's got, do you agree that he holds the cards?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we've talked to him and he's been open with us. So he alleges that he has cards. We haven't talked to the town. I don't know what the town has. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what their rationale is. And there's a ton of information if people want to go, like Eddie said, and I did, go on that DOA website and you can read the administrative law judge's reports. There's plenty. There's a long history of this, and there's a lot of cases that are listed up there, and one of them is 172 pages. But I mean, the average person to go through that,
it's a pain.
It's a pain. And
the other downside to losing a lawsuit, a Bert Harris lawsuit, which the county tried to avoid last week, whole different story. The other downside to that is you could lose the critical wildlife area. It could be determined that was improperly drawn, that somebody from the state just popped some pegs in there and decided this is where it's going to be because they see this and that and the other thing. And if he's willing to take it all the way, with that, then that would be really the worst case scenario in addition to the money. Anyway,
I'm certain that the state that is the state department that's responsible for drawing the lines is well versed in maintaining that critical wildlife area, and
I guess we'll see, right?
Wouldn't put it in jeopardy.
All right,
more to come
on that, everybody, and we have plenty other stuff to talk about today. But right now, we need to get a quick update from Ranger Robert.
How you doing, guys?
Good morning.
Turn your microphone on, Robert. Nice. So Robert was here, for those of you that don't know, Robert was here last week to talk about some illegal turtle sales.
Yes.
You go from something that's a multi-million-dollar lawsuit to a turtle. That's what we do on this show.
This could be up to that eventually.
That's right.
The more research I've been doing on it, I'm getting a lot of there's a lot of gray area with this.
With everything
in the country, I'm finding out that it's illegal to sell turtles of any kind under 4 inches. These turtles are barely an inch. So in the country, it is illegal. In the state of Florida, you are allowed to sell the species of turtle in certain areas, but down here they're invasive species and you shouldn't be able to. But they're getting them from a breeder in northern Florida where you're able to. They're just getting them in the wrong area. So there's all kinds of weird stuff I'm learning about.
So where they're breeding these little turtles,
it's okay.
Right. But to ship them down here and then sell them in
undersized,
this part,
it's not right. So I'm still working with the city to try to get a city ordinance to just say, just don't do it. Just stop.
So your goal is to get an ordinance. What did you find out from last week to this week, other than the 4-inch turtle thing?
So I found out the 4-inch turtle thing is the big one. So it is against the law under 4 inches. So right there, that should be ready to shut them down.
Did you go into the place of what's the name of the place again?
The Tiki Hut here at the corner by the new Cold Stone.
Did you go in there and explain to them that you're not allowed to sell?
It's not my place to.
Oh, really?
I don't really have that, range.
Authority.
I wish I could do that. But I feel like every time I have gone in there and approached them about it, I feel like they have they know. I have a feeling they know that they're doing it wrong.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's all about the Benjamin, though.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So
and he ordered another 50 just the other day. I'm sorry.
Wow.
No, that's all right. So that would fall under FWC kind of responsibility to go in there. And
so Florida Fish and Wildlife, I think where the gray area is with them is they're looking at the Florida laws, and it even though what they're doing is questionable, even with the Florida laws, they still have that permit that says they're able to sell a turtle. But the way that they're selling them, the information that they're giving in the law, it flat out says you have to give the proper information when you're selling these turtles, and the proper enclosure has to be able to get at the same place. And they're not doing either of those.
So what's our game plan here?
So right now I'm kind of just waiting on City Hall they're still in works. This kind of stuff takes long, and I know they're kind of on their break almost. So we're just kind of waiting for the lawyer to either make an action to get FWC in there to just say stop. And I know they're probably going to fight it because he says he makes so much money off this. But here's the thing. If we want to stop it, we just stop buying the turtles.
Right.
Just stop buying the turtles. And I'm not here saying, I want to shut your business down. No, everybody that comes to the beaches loves these little shops and that.
Yep.
And a great alternative, let's get little plush
Plastic.
turtles.
Or
Not
plastic.
plastic.
No, not plastic.
What's wrong
Maybe
with
like-
you?
Sorry.
Plastic kills the birds. Bird.
But the little toy,
Right.
little plush turtles, that a portion of proceeds go to help and sea turtles or something like that.
Nice.
If you want to sell that for $20, you can get your money and then put some of it to help.
So a little
you know?
turtle told me you bought a boat today.
I did.
Yes.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Yeah, $500. Nice.
Yeah, it was a really good deal.
Yeah.
That
out of
sounds-
nowhere.
Some guy got struck by lightning and
That's
wanted to
right.
get rid of his boat.
Yeah.
Did the boat get damaged from the lightning?
It is cosmetic damage, not structural, and some of the electronics were fried, and I got to put a new impeller in the motor. But other than that, it's
Nice.
a great little boat.
I'll tell you,
I'm taking you guys out, right?
not when there's lightning, because I got to say the chances, I know the chances are greater where we live,
Mhm.
but when you think the
Yeah.
guy's boat got struck by, that would be my cue to be, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm off the
Lee
water.
County is like like Southern Florida is the state
Yeah.
or the national capital for lightning strikes or something like
Is
that.
that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have to
mean,
Google that later. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure of that.
Yeah, check
So-
that. I've
So
heard
are we
it,
going to
but
do
I
a
don't know.
protest? Or are we going to
Yeah, I
loot
actually wanna-
anything?
I
Or
wanna
maybe we
s-
should just loot the place and steal the turtles. Apparently
we'll
that's
just let
lead
them
that.
loose.
that's legal. Looting is legal in the United States.
Well, I would like to do another protest. If anyone's interested in getting the information on that, I don't have a date yet, but get me on my Instagram, Ranger Rob FMB, and just message me on there, and I'll give you dates and times as more people tell me their availability and when they want, because I can go out there any day that I want to, but it's just some guy in a hat standing around with a
Right.
sign. If
Right.
we get more people passing out to the tourists, hey, don't buy these guys. It's
and
better.
you
Yeah.
work at the Pink Shell.
Yeah.
And
But
that's
again, this is not.
no,
I
I just want to make sure. I like mentioning all the local businesses
Yeah.
for no reason, though. I just
Yeah, you
like
can
to
come
mention
see me
them.
there
well,
anytime.
I'll tell you, we've
Yeah.
been to the Pink Shell and
Yeah.
we love it.
We can't
there.
afford it right now because COVID-19 and all that. But
I'll start up my kayak tours here again soon.
nice.
And I do nature walks and beach walks, all kinds of stuff. You guys
All
got to
right.
come
Enough
out.
free promotion for you. Get out of here.
Yeah, right.
All
Hey,
right.
You mentioned it, so now I got to push.
You know,
Keep us-
you should also do kids parties. Could people
Oh, right.
rent you out to do kids? That would be
Well,
a
All
great
right.
thing.
You guys have a meeting after the show. We got a lot to do today.
Yes, and
Thank
you
you.
have to go rescue your wife.
That's
Yes.
right.
So
Yeah, so
Another
that'll
story.
be interesting.
got a scooty
Broken
boot
car.
up there.
All right, Ranger Rob,
All right.
everybody,
Thank you so
joining the show
much.
once again. And I want to make sure I tell everybody tomorrow is Father's Day. How about a last minute gift like the Fort Myers Tiki Tours? They're open for business. They're featuring social distancing cruises. We're going tomorrow for Father's Day. Private boat for up to 4 people, $119.99. Up to 6 people, $179.99. Wow, they're spending that much on me for Father's Day. Holy moly. And that's a total per boat, not per person. Bring your own bee, and that would be beer or booze. Or very nice job there. You're doing a lovely job cleaning up. You're going to go wash your hands too and put your mask on? Or all right. They supply the U.S. Coast Guard, Captain, cooler and ice, and all the necessary required safety equipment. And that is Fort Myers Tiki Tours. I don't need a mask. Listen, if you're allowed to riot and loot and Trump's allowed to have a rally and nobody's telling us to put a mask on, that's just the end of that. And you can call now to make reservations, 239-887-0042, 239-887-0042. Fort Myers Tiki Tours. We have lots of great sponsors to tell you about as the show goes on. We appreciate everybody supporting us. We want to make sure you know that Facebook Live is being powered by Mango Ritas, which is right next to Pete's Time Out here in Times Square. And we love all of the folks down here in Times Square. And now over to the wife who's going to introduce our second guest of the day.
So, welcome to the show, everybody. This is, for those of you who don't know, this is Monica Lynn, right?
Yes.
But more importantly known as the Fairy Pod Mother.
Oh.
You can't hear it, but he's playing a round of applause for you to
Oh,
everybody back.
wonderful. I love it.
So, welcome to the show. We've heard so much about you. We're so happy to have you on today.
Well, thank you. It's wonderful to finally meet you.
Yes, yes. So tell us, how did all of this what is it and how did it all get started?
Fairy Pod Mother. It is an interesting concept. Actually, I've always been involved in animal rescue and advocacy. It started in Ohio when I was involved in feral cat rescue. And then about 2015, I got involved in farm animal rescue through Esther's Army. So that is my passion, is advocating for more the underdog. So I never really thought dolphins were an underdog. I mean, they are one of the arguably the most loved animal on earth. So I figured there was really no need to rescue or advocate for them. But a few years ago, when I became a full-time resident, I'd been a snowbird for years. I started spending a lot more time on my kayak. And I have a passion for photography and writing as well. And I started just by happenstance getting some pretty cool images, I thought, of dolphins. And so I started a little website, showing some of the better videos. And then I realized just through my observations on the water that they actually do need advocates down here. There are laws, good laws, just a few to protect them, but most people are unaware of them. They're not, nobody is out there maliciously harming dolphins, except,
I would hope not.
I hate to say it, there were 2 that were stabbed in the last year in Captiva and Naples. But that ties in to why these laws are important. In 1972, the Marine Mammal Protection Act was put in place by the federal government. And it basically just said you can't take dolphins captive for like SeaWorld, et cetera. But then they amended it and said, don't feed them. And the reason that's so important is when we feed dolphins, and people do it, again, not to hurt them. They think, oh, I want that dolphin to come close to my boat. And so they're doing it out of goodwill. But what happens is dolphins need to remain wild. These are wild dolphins. We need to leave them wild. They need to teach their calves to be able to fend for themselves. But as well, when we feed them, they lose their fear of humans. Right. They come close to fishing boats trying to get free fish, and they can easily get entangled with fishing line or ingest fishing gear, which can result in their death. But in this case, FWC suggested that the reason these 2 dolphins were stabbed in the head was they were probably in the begging position, like coming up to a fishing boat begging for food or trying to steal catch. And somebody got angry. They ran into the wrong human. And so even though the majority of us want nothing but goodwill for these beautiful creatures, we have to remember, if we cross that line that Noah has set, then we are actually endangering the animals we love so much. So that's one of the messages I try to get out. Don't feed them, don't touch them, leave them wild.
And let them approach you, because now that's because you have some amazing shots. So how did you get some of those amazing shots?
I'm glad you asked that, because I always worry when I share videos and pictures, especially when the dolphins are coming close. I don't want to send the wrong message.
Right.
And that was one of my fears. I didn't want to share these pictures because I thought it looks like I'm baiting them or something. I want to stress, I do not feed them, touch them, or entice them. Enticing is pretty common too, even amongst some boat tours that don't know better, where you're pounding on the side of your boat or using clicker or whistling. Those are things that we're all taught to do as soon as we get on the water. I know when I first started kayaking, people said, hey, pound on your kayak. They love noise. So I'm pounding and pounding. And I'm like, some came up and others ran. I basically was scaring their fish away. But then somebody explained to me that enticement, again, is breaking down that barrier. We're taking them off their natural behavioral course. We could be interfering with mother nursing her baby. We could be scaring their prey away. There's a lot of dangers inherent in enticing them. So I do not do that. So it's one thing I want to say is, how do I get those pictures? Patience,
right?
Respect. I've spent probably 5,000 hours on the water over the years. And you are seeing in those videos and pictures the very best moments where they might approach and pop their head up for 4 seconds. It's not like I'm snapping my fingers or holding a fish up saying, come give me a picture.
Right.
That's diametrically opposed to the message I'm trying to send out. Those are just moments that I've been able to capture. And when I share those videos, I always add at the end, please watch to the end of the video, where I explain the basic laws about not touching, not feeding, not enticing. And another common problem that we're really fighting along with Ranger Rob and a lot of Dolphin Smart captains and guides of dolphin tours is it's a very common practice, and it's been done here for years, of jet skis and groups circling dolphins. And when we've spoken up against it, they said, well, we don't have motors. We don't have props. We can't cut dolphins. That's true. But what a lot of even jet ski operators don't realize is dolphins can get killed by simply the impact of a jet ski running into their head.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know-
I can see how that could happen. Plus the stress for those animals to be corralled. I mean, they're not Mustangs. They're
That's it. It's not a rodeo. And it's so funny that you said that, because one of my neighbors said, hey, it's like the Wild West here. And they're like, it's a rodeo corralling dolphins. And the reason they do it is, number one, people want to get a look at them. Another reason is some of them are enticing them to jump by creating a wake around them. Just because a dolphin jumps does not mean they're having fun. Dolphins can jump out of stress, like you said.
Right.
The strongest bond in the dolphin world is that between a mother and her calf. And we are blessed to be in a nursery area. The whole back bay serves as a nursery for our dolphins. And when you come between a mother and her baby, it causes the mother tremendous stress. And so we have to do everything we can not to add to the emotional stress of that. Another point is that I'm trying to think, corralling. This is something I learned from somebody who lives on a liveaboard boat. She just noticed all the jet skis surrounding the dolphins. And she said, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of how dolphins circle their prey. Right. And so what's a mother thinking?
Right.
She's got her baby that she will die for. And there's humans circling. So it does cause tremendous stress, and it can affect their health and even the life of the baby.
So what should people do if they see others acting in a inappropriate, dangerous manner?
First of all, put the dolphin first. If it's something that's happening immediately and like people are circling the dolphins, you don't have to worry about being too tactful. Just yell, stop them, say this is wrong. Now, all that being said, I believe in advocating with kindness and respect. We want to treat the people that we want to change, the tours that we want to change, with the same respect that we want them to treat the dolphins and the manatees. So, obviously, if we can have a conversation off the water in a kind of respectful manner and share these laws from the NOAA website, that's the best thing. But always put the dolphin safety first and speak up. And that's what we're seeing around the island. We've kind of got a neighborhood watch going, which is really cool. And it's
kind of
not
like Baywatch.
Yes.
A different kind of Baywatch.
I'm not going to be in a bikini anytime soon. But
So, Fairy, can you tell us about, you don't mind if I call you Fairy?
no, go ahead.
Can you tell us about the book?
Yes, the fairy would like to speak now about the book. This is a little fairy. No, this is Baby Whistler, and this is the cover of the new edition of A Letter from Clarence O'Malley. And the whole way this book came about all goes back to Dr. Leroy, who is dedicated to. I wouldn't have any kind of a platform for my advocacy.
For a little history, for anybody that's new, Leroy Hammerding, the former librarian who passed, he was a librarian when he passed away about a little over a year ago now, right?
Yes.
It's been a little over a year, so I didn't mean to interrupt, but
we
got new listeners all the time.
Thank you for doing that. Yes, about 2 years ago, by happenstance, Eddie Foster and I ran into each other, and she saw my dolphin photographs, and she was good friends with Dr. Leroy. So he saw them and invited me to give monthly presentations at the library during season. And it started out as mainly entertainment, showing videos and photographs, but then it kind of morphed into more, how can we advocate? How can we be pod protectors? And that's why I'm working with Ranger Rob as well. And so it turned out that they wanted me to read a dolphin book to the kindergarten class from the beach school. And so Mrs. Cribbs' class came to the library, and Kathy at the library and I could not find a dolphin book in print that really expressed the message that we wanted to share with the kids. We want them to become little pod protectors. And so I finally wrote the book I'd always wanted to write, with the help of my second grade teacher, Mrs. Carolyn Walker, who's still teaching and substituting 46 years after I had her. Whoa, we both sound pretty old right now. But she was invaluable because she works with little kids, and it takes a special knack to write for 6 to 10-year-olds. And she lent her expertise to make that a book that I think the kids really enjoyed.
So you're creating little pod posses out there.
Yes, the pod posse. I like that even better than pod protectors.
I'm not going to let that go. Where did that come from?
It just the ideas
The
just
Pod
pop
Posse.
in.
Well,
Nice.
you know,
Pop
we
into
have
my
the
brain.
Wild West, and now we have the Pod Posse reigning.
Yeah,
ahead.
we could get them little like badges that are in the shape of a dolphin.
Well, Ranger Rob and
Uh,
I've been working on the Pod Protector program for kids, and we came up with you came up with it too. Pod Protector patches
nice.
to teach them how to advocate and be good stewards of our local dolphins.
We also have a calendar. Tell us about the calendar.
The calendar just came about by to actually help pay for these cards that I pass out for free. It was just a way of bringing a little income. And also there's inspirational quotes about protecting not just dolphins, but all wildlife. And so I sell those at the, where do I have those at? Annette's Book Nook on my website, fairypodmother.com. And I use the proceeds of that to create these cards. And I just try to take a different picture of a dolphin that somebody would enjoy looking at. And then on the back, I subtly get my message in and about not driving towards or over dolphins, pulling them in your wake. And I also have the NOAA number for people to call if they witness harassment on the water. So I use the proceeds of that to pay for this
Nice.
outreach work.
Very cool.
It
So
is
where can
nice.
people get the book?
People can get the book online, fairypodmother.com, but we also have it at the Beach Library. And at that bookstore, those proceeds go directly to support the library.
Very cool.
And we also have the book at Annette's Book Nook down by Santini Plaza.
And again, remind us some of the proceeds go to the Esther. Tell us a little bit about
Oh.
Esther the pig.
Esther's Army. Thank you for asking about that.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
I got involved.
I
I got
pigs.
involved with
Oh,
farm.
stop.
Okay,
I
no,
do. I love pigs.
I love this girl. But anyways,
Are they-
as I
do they
said, I
kill-
always like the underdog. What's more of an underdog than feral cats and farm animals?
If I Google fairy pig mother, am I going to find you on that site too?
We
Or
have fairy hog mothers for our fundraising, and that's kind of where we got fairy pod mother. It's been kind of an evolution here. But yeah, Esther the Wonder Pig was adopted by Steve and Derek up in Ontario. They thought they were getting one of those micro pigs.
Yeah,
It
not
turned
so
out
much.
they adopted a commercial farm pig
Oh.
that they thought was going to grow to the size
Huge.
of their dogs. And they'd already fallen in love with her.
is there
And
such a thing as a micro pig?
There is no
is,
such
but
thing as a
they-
micro pig.
All right,
sell
she
them like
just-
that,
she
but
just
they're
shot
not
you
like
down
that.
there.
No, but
No,
I'm
but
saying that
they sell them that
that's
way.
how they market them. Just like those little.
Do they sell them
Turtles.
over? They
Yeah,
sell the
right.
pigs over
Don't
here
you
too
look
with the
for-
turtles.
Yeah, next to the turtles.
Good
But-
Lord.
No, thank you for bringing that up because
You're
that is a passion of mine. That's been a passion of mine before I got involved with the dolphins. And Esther's Army of Love is Farm Animal Network Rescue and Advocacy. And it was inspired by Esther the Wonder Pig. And if you have not seen that celebrity on Facebook, you want to check her out because it's nothing but fun and positivity. And it helps people connect with farm animals in a different way.
I was poking around a little bit, but I didn't get to see. So I have to ask, is there an Esther the Wonder Pig book? And if not,
Oh yes, there is.
Okay.
And let me tell you, I had no hand in it, but let me tell you, I highly recommend it. It's for children, and they're just having their second children's book come out. But it's wonderful because what these men are doing is leveling the playing field between farm animals and companion animals. We view them completely differently, and yet they're sentient, intelligent beings, more intelligent than dogs.
well, you left me an opening there, but I'm not going to take it. I'm going
Because
to
she
be
pointed
nice
right
today.
at me.
Nice.
Why did she point right at me?
Be nice.
She said dog, and she pointed right at me. I don't deserve that.
Who's she being nice to, me or you? I just
No,
want to
I'm
be
being nice to him.
Oh, okay.
I'm being nice to him. I'm not taking that opening.
So are you
but-
out on
You
the
wouldn't be
water?
mean to me on my first time here.
Are you out on the water every day?
I am. I work from home, working primarily on Esther's Army. A lot of that work is writing on the Facebook page as well as networking with other farm animal sanctuaries on the phone and online. So that leaves me a lot of flexibility.
So how can people help you? I mean, do you take donations for the book or I mean, all this stuff isn't free. I mean, what
No,
can people do to help you out?
Well, if they are interested in buying anything, they can go to fairypodmother.com, the website, and I sell coasters. I sell all sorts of dolphin gifts. And the most important thing to me is the message that's in the calendars and the book.
Do you go to the school every year and read to
go
the kids?
I go to the library, which is where they bring the beach school kids once
Nice.
a year, Mrs. Cribbs' class. And I have to thank Tina Cribbs because she's the one that said, you've got to print this book. You've got to publish it.
I would
So-
like to read to the kids.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
fun.
you would
should
love
do
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get in line for that?
You just call the light. I'll talk to Kathy. And get
Okay.
you on. Oh,
You
no,
got
it
an
was so
in
much
there.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I was so worried about talking about red tide with the kids. I didn't want to talk about dead dolphins to kindergartners. And so I kind of skirted that issue when we were talking about protecting them. These beach kids are amazing advocates. One little boy raised his hand. He said, "Red tide's killing our dolphins. We have to protect our water."
Nice.
And they inspired me
Wow.
more than anything I could have shared could have inspired them. So they really gave me confidence that we have good stewards coming up in our beach community.
Well, go ahead, Dee.
No, I just want to say, when you were talking about letting the dolphins come to you, on occasion, I haven't in a while been out paddleboarding.
Mhm.
And I, didn't grow up in a beach area. So I was out there paddleboarding one time, and, obviously I'm looking around, and one kind of came up very close to the paddleboard, and it didn't give me I was like, oh, I held my breath, and I stood there and waited, and there was a group of them, a pod of them, and they got close, and I just stood there, and I was, wishing I had a camera, but
you didn't miss the moment.
No, I didn't miss the moment, and I have it forever.
You did everything right.
Well, I was scared a little bit because at first I was like, "What?"
Oh, I got to tell you,
they got close. So if you just wait and
just
be patient.
Patience, respect, and being as quiet as you can. The more noise you make, you think you're drawing them to, just be quiet. I had to modify my behavior. I did everything wrong when I was on the water, as I said. And once I quieted myself and just listened and waited, that's when you get those moments. And as you know, they're unforgettable, but you did everything right.
They're so majestic out there. Well,
we hope you'll come back many
Yeah.
times and tell
I
us how
would love
things are
to.
going. This
I've
was a lot of
enjoyed
fun. We
this.
could
It's so
talk for
much
the whole
fun.
hour about
I
this. It's
know.
been
I
really
got
fun.
more stories about our local dolphins, so I'll be happy to come back sometime.
Well, thank you
so
very
have
much.
them all named?
I have about 25, 30 of them named.
Wow.
The ones I
Wow.
can recognize by dorsal fin and behavior. So,
Nice.
the
Thank you
local
so much for
smokers.
coming
Thank
on.
you so
Thank
much for
you.
having
so
me.
much.
That is the Fairy Pod Mother, everybody, and
More
make sure
fairy.
you go on the Facebook page and the website and check everything out. Before we get to our final topic for today, I want to tell you about a couple of brand new sponsors. CCG Certified Public Accountants, over 100 plus years in tax preparation experience, 4 CPAs and 10 accounting professionals, 6 years in business. They can do tax prep remotely, which is very important these days. 2 locations, Fort Myers and Naples. If you have any questions about your taxes, you can go to their website now and contact them. They'll get right back to you. They're really cool. We use them. We've been using them for 5 years. So the last thing you need to be doing is going into their office with your COVID and passing that around. So you want to get to their website, ccgcpas.com, ccgcps.com. And you can call them at 992-1973, 992-1973. You're on your phone. You're supposed to be helping our next guest out. We also want to tell you about islandoils.com. Repels the bugs. We're getting the Island Oils. We ordered it, and we're getting it for this weekend because the wife left the door open to the lanai cage, and the bugs are everywhere, including the no-see-ums. Nobody wants no-see-ums on them. The islandoils.com. If you aren't texting your mom, then we'd be set here. You're too busy texting your mom or your boyfriend or whoever it is. It soothes the itch when you get on islandoils.com. 100% oil, 100% works. No water added. Oil and water don't mix unless you shake it like crazy. It's made. Wait a second. Say that again.
Will it repel you if I use it?
I'm reading an ad now. They're going to want their money back for that interruption. Made in Florida for Floridians. It smells fabulous. It's 100% oil, but absorbs well and is also a nice moisturizer for your skin. Did you hear that? It's moisturizer for your skin. Islandoils.com, folks. Check them out. We appreciate those guys being a brand new sponsor this week. We really loaded up on the sponsors this week. You know what that means? That means that things are looking great around the beach area with all the businesses getting back in business. No turning back now. And we got a big topic to talk about. So before we get Tyler on, we're going to introduce from Columbus, Ohio into the show, Todd and Natalie Richardson. You're going to listen to them through the speaker. Hey, guys, how are you doing?
We're great.
Good.
How are you?
Okay, let me see if I can. Oh, there you go. There you go. We can hear you perfectly now. We're all going to need to sit close together here. We also have, now let me introduce everybody. Tyler is from Nervous Nellies. You a co-owner, Tyler?
Yes, sir.
Nice and close to the microphone. And Natalie and Todd, tell us, you're from Harbor House.
Yes.
So kind of tell us what you do there.
We're just resident. We own one of the units at the Harbor House. We've been down for about 6.5 years. frequent the place as often as we can possibly get down there, and currently reside in Columbus, Ohio.
Great. Now, the reason
why we love you guys, to keep us up on everything that's happening down there.
Great. Now, the reason everybody is here is because we wanted to talk about the Bayside Park building or proposed building, and you guys are all going to be impacted by that no matter what happens because you're all so close to it. So first, Tyler, you kind of organized,
Yeah, we put together a group of concerned citizens that really felt like our opinions and in the matter hadn't been addressed properly by the town. So we kind of grouped together, drew out some ideas that to bring to the town of why the location they had chosen and the design they had chosen just wasn't going to fit the public park that was there.
And you guys got involved. Why?
Well, when about, I don't know, 5 weeks ago, I think we saw all the lines painted on the concrete down there. That's when we started doing a little research. We met Tyler, talked about what was taking place. The view we've got from our condo, and most of the owners from that side of the building have a gorgeous view of the bay. And with that park between the sidewalks only being about 47 feet wide, to put up a building that's 25-ish feet wide at the back and taking away half that view spot just made no sense to us. It's roughly 40 feet tall. It's about 90 feet long. It goes back past the rear portion of Nervous Nellie's. It would block anybody in the park's view of a good portion of the bay, the bridge coming over and everything else. And that's when we teamed up with Tyler and the people from Marina Village and Matanzas, and the four of us kind of grouped together to start seeing what we could do to fight back and push back a little bit towards town council and the Anchorage committee.
Okay, before we continue, I wanted to play something for you guys so you can hear. We got to this point, I think, partly because the residents felt like they didn't have enough time to either give input, or they felt like this thing was just dropped on them, and there was no, nobody knew what was going on. So I want to play this for you and have you guys comment on it. Hopefully you guys can hear it in Columbus.
This business about not being
This is the mayor.
notified of things and not being made aware of. Mr. Town Manager, can you give me a brief chronology of just the meetings that have been held and what type of notice is given out for these meetings? We've gotten untold number of emails that saying, no one's been told about what's been going on. I just want to clear the air about this one situation here.
Well, with regard to this project,
The town manager.
projects were worked on by our various committees on various committee agendas on multiple occasions prior to the COVID-19 sort of. Since then, they've been the subject of Zoom meetings and starting to have in-person meetings again. With regard to the notice and process and those types of things, I think there's been adequate notice for people to participate. And I think, as one speaker said, people may have been distracted by other things, but there was no intention or effort to not get full public input with regard to this and to other projects that the town is working on, and provide people with numerous opportunities to speak to the issue. None of these issues are in stone or can't be reconsidered today and even into the future. So there's plenty of opportunity for dialogue and public input with regard to this and the other two major projects that the town is contemplating.
Okay, before we comment on that, the things that you heard cutting in and out is because the town can't fix its own sound system. 6 months after they purchased a sound system, they can't figure out how to fix it so everybody can hear it. So, but I don't want to harp on that. So, Tyler, the first thing was he said adequate notice.
As far as written notification, we received nothing. The only notification we knew of was a Zoom meeting that where the design had already been completed and it was going to be presented to the town. I attended my first AAC meeting, Anchorage Advisory Committee meeting, Wednesday, and that was, I guess, the back in February the genesis point of the whole let's put the upland facilities in Bayside Park.
And the upland facilities, what you're talking about is the mooring field folks that live out there. They're looking to put the washer and dryer or laundromat and some restrooms, which would be public restrooms, into that building that you guys have seen on the website. So Todd and Natalie, you had adequate notice according to the town manager.
Well, I think what he, I'll be as fair as I can be. I think Roger was referring to notices of the meetings. There were no notices sent out to local property owners, but I think what he was referring to were, there's always meeting notices for Anchorage advisory committees and for town council meetings. Those notices aren't always posted far in advance. This week's Anchorage advisory committee agenda wasn't even posted until the day before. So sometimes to find out what's actually on the agenda it's a little tight. But going back up until through the end of February, I think at the February 26th meeting, at that point in time, they were really looking just for a redesign on the park, an improved stage design, some educational features, memorial tribute to military, and a really nice facelift. And at the end of February, I think it was in the 26th meeting with the Anchorage committee, they suggested that we or the town consider putting the upland services over in the park. And I think the reason they did that is because they own the space and they're looking to bring some of those services in-house. So at that point in time, somehow the park became almost the only option, and they were full steam ahead on the design for that. They went through a couple of designs because the first design they had was a building that went over the water lines, and the water main and sewer mains for the island come right through the middle of Bayside Park. They realized they couldn't do that, so they had this little wedge down the east side, and they decided to design that building to fit on the wedge down the east side. I think when it morphed into this building, it was all during COVID, when many property owners and residents in the area have a much greater focus on their mind than trying to keep up with what's happening down there. But up until the end of February, I don't think the residents had any reason to be concerned with what town council was looking at. Former town council wanted nothing to do with the building on that property. They wanted to give it a facelift and move forward. And until the Anchorage committee suggested it be considered, that's when it all changed.
Well, I was told last week by somebody that I trust, that I don't want to give the person's name out, that this is the town staff pushing this. The town staff is completely behind this, and they're the ones pushing this. How did it morph from what it started out to be into this 3-story building with, which I mean, we were down there today just to try and figure out how you could wedge something like that right into that spot next to your location. And it looks like you can almost reach out and touch the building from where you are.
The buildings are so close to each other, they almost violate the social distancing requirements that we have on our tables. So
he's right.
The sidewalk currently is about 9 feet wide. They're going to have to take almost 2.5 feet of the sidewalk. So they'll shrink that sidewalk to about 6.5 feet between Nervous Nellies and the large wall, 45-foot wall of the building.
I'm no nature expert, but you go down there and you see a nice open space, and you see an opportunity to put the fountain back in, and to even if you put a small stage in there so you can do the songwriter festival, it just seems like a perfect location. So it didn't. I mean, maybe even some public restrooms, because you hear concern about restrooms all the time. It just seemed like it went way overboard somehow.
Yeah, I think the call for public restrooms was a way to kind of get more support for this project. Currently, with the construction of the new restaurant, Snug Harbor, out on the dock, and the public parking lot paid parking lot that's down there, there currently is, I believe, 6 or 7 restrooms open to the public in the first floor of the
that Marina Village
building. Nervous Nellies has always been open for public bathrooms. We never stop anyone from using our bathrooms.
No, that was my first meeting from the Anchorage committee. And they did say that they hadn't met in a while, that they, because of the COVID, that they hadn't met. So I know that they had been on break for, not break, but they hadn't met in a while. But yes, they did say there's 7 bathrooms available there, and you have some at your place.
Absolutely.
There's also a porta potty actually strategically positioned under the bridge that down
Really?
there. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have to remember that when I come back on the bike. But did you guys want to jump in, Todd?
Yeah, just to follow up on what Tyler said, there are 7 restrooms at the Marina Village that the town council and the Anchorage committee were unaware of. Those restrooms, like Tyler said, were built to be public restrooms when they built Snug Harbor's restaurant there. In addition, one of the other concerns I think that made the building go up is somehow the town and the Anchorage committee was under the impression that you couldn't have restrooms on the first floor. I'm not sure why they think that. I think that the current code is there's no living quarters on first floor. The commercial codes allowed, if they're built to the hurricane standards, to be put on the first floor, because at Marina Village, they're on the first floor, and all of the office spaces at Harbor House across the street are also have restroom facilities and offices on the first floor. There is some space there owned by Doug, who owns Matanzas, that they are looking at as potential site for the restroom and laundry facilities, or the expanded restroom and laundry facilities. But I think a lot of it was the town didn't have the correct information. So they think they've got to have everything up on the second floor. And then the theory was, once they get to the second floor, we might as well build a third floor, so all those people from the mooring field can get a really good view of the water that they actually live on.
So I got to ask both you guys and lady a question. I asked the town to send me whatever proposal they received from the folks down there. I guess there are a couple of people that want to take care of the folks on the mooring field, so maybe that building doesn't have to be built. And they said they have no proposals, none.
No proposals for what, Tyler?
Yeah, no proposals at all to take care of the mooring field, folks. They have none. That's what they said on Friday. They said to me they have no proposals.
Okay, as far as space goes, you mean?
I don't know if I got that specific. I mean,
I've actually seen a letter that was sent to the town that outlines a number of possibilities as far as leasing, purchasing, build out, and actually even a lease term for the leasing of the building.
Correct.
It was addressed to the town council. I got a copy. I don't know how they didn't get a copy. Maybe it was lost. I don't know.
I'm sure
they're well aware of it.
They are well aware of it, because I spoke with Doug Sparron Smith, who is Matanzas owner, this week. I know he had meetings with some council members at the Harbor House site, I believe Thursday or Friday. I know there was a group from the town hall that he's meeting with there on site on Monday. And I believe, if I'm correct, he got a phone call or an email the day after or the day of the meeting last Monday from town council requesting a meeting to sit down and review the proposal that he sent. So they are aware there's another option. I spoke with a couple of the Anchorage committee people after the meeting, and they weren't aware at that time there was another option, but they are aware now. And they asked during that meeting that I believe Kim was at, if they could attend the meeting with Chelsea with Doug to review the site.
So, I know.
So I think everybody at the town, there's an option.
I know Forrest Kritzer and a bunch of other folks have been pushing for some kind of memorial. I know they didn't want to call it a war memorial. They were fitzing with the name, but I think that would be a great spot for something. I mean, that and a small stage or something like that. But the view and that area, it just seems it needs a little touch up there.
Absolutely. The original plan for the redesign of the park was to create I believe they started off as a World War II memorial, then they just transformed it into a Veterans Memorial. But the plan to continue it as a Veterans Memorial while attaching it to a public restroom, I think, is kind of offensive. to put a Veterans Memorial on a public toilet, I think is
they were going to put it right on the toilet.
I didn't mean directly on the toilet, but
I know what you mean.
There's a better way to honor our men and women who have served.
I want to read what Eric said. Eric types in, most of us vets did our share of latrine duty. I don't want crappers, showers, and a laundromat to be disguised as a veterans military tribute.
My point exactly.
Great.
So you guys out in Columbus there, where does this go from here?
Well, from what we can see, and I want to thank Town Council and the advisory committee, they took a step back this week, took a pause, listened to the community, I think, and have decided to put the brakes on the entire project until they can vet out other sources. And I think they're in the process of trying to do that now. So I believe they're listening. How it got the legs that it had gotten over the past couple months, hopefully at this point is past us, and they'll put a lot more thought, fiscally and location wise as to what they're building. And hopefully they'll realize there are other options and better locations out there.
I want to make
Yeah,
sure
and
that
we were.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And to make sure that that space serves the majority of the people, because when it comes down to it, the building that they were proposing would benefit up to 70 mooring balls. But after hearing from other people who've weighed in since then, it's not 100% capacity. Some of the people have those facilities on their boats already, and some of them use those mooring balls for wet storage. So it wouldn't even be 70 people. If it was 35 people, that would probably be a lot. So a $1.5 million 3-story laundromat for 35 people versus the thousands of us that enjoy that view, that come down. And I mean, we watch from our balcony the people flowing in and out of Nervous Nellies into that great big Adirondack chair. I mean, those are memories you can't pay for. And to block that off with a concrete slab right up against it is just, I don't know how it ever got that far.
I know, well, a statement, because we were all at the meeting, and where I was sitting, I couldn't see the gentleman on the committee that was sitting on the end, but he did take a moment and he wanted it read into record. And I think it bears us saying here to get the other side that they in no way ramrodded through the Bayside Park idea, and that their committee worked with what they had as far as information. And that this information didn't come to them until approximately May. And the gentleman said, our options are limited, continue as is or work with Harbor House, and that they acted in a responsible way. And so that was the committee's statement, is I think they were feeling, they wanted to get that into the record. And so
Was that from the mooring committee on Wednesday?
AAC. Yeah.
That was,
the
yes.
AAC committee,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay.
The
Yeah.
Anchorage committee. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I believe that to be true. They just made a recommendation based on limited information.
Yeah, they obviously they weren't trying to force anything through. However, I mean, did they actively pursue other locations? That proposed property in Harbor House has been empty for years and is in direct eye line of the dinghy dock that's currently there. So if they were looking hard, they missed that spot.
So does anybody know if Matanzas they want out of this? Is that why we're getting to?
No, their lease is up. Their contract is up, I believe, next year.
Yeah, it's
and
up
the town is looking to bring it in house.
It has to be renegotiated. I think at the end of next year, they've given them an extension. I think the Matanzas group, from what I'm hearing from them, I think they're open to, improving the current facilities. And I've been in the facilities. They're nice. They're clean. They're air conditioned. There's just not enough showers, I think, is the biggest concern.
Okay.
So this all started to add a couple more showers and a couple more restrooms. But I think he's open to whatever they need and trying to help them find the space or expand the space that they currently have.
So when are you guys coming back?
Not soon enough.
Yeah.
All right.
We wish
we
we
need
were
anybody to
there
watch
now.
your place over at the Harbor House. Just let us know. I mean, you know where to find us. If you need somebody to clean, she's great at that.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Just let us know what we can do. Natalie, thanks for the shout out at the meeting. We appreciate that. It was very nice of you.
Thanks for everything you guys do. Have a great day.
Thank you guys very much.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that was there we go. That was that was Todd and Natalie Richardson, and they have a place at the Harbor House. And
yeah, they look directly down right on the park and Nervous Nellies. They're on the corner there. They've shared pictures with the town council of their view and just how it would be just completely destroyed by if that building were put up. They'd have a 45-foot high wall right in there.
And I think for them to, for the Harbor House to offer that space up, because I know that those guys were saying in the meeting that originally was being looked at as an exercise facility for the Harbor House, but that they're committed to the community and providing these upland services. So
Rich says, I feel we were all pretty much in the dark until town had this well along the planning process. It's a horrible approach of a public space that currently benefits all the residents.
I agree 100%. When I spoke in front of town council on Monday, I apologized for not being more aware of what was going on. We were gearing up for season.
Tyler, I have to tell you something. I watch all of those meetings. Unfortunately, some of them are 5-6 hours long.
Yeah.
And it went right over my head.
If you can hear it,
yeah, if you can hear it, and that's
a summary with bullet points or something.
But here's the thing: why not be over aggressive in trying to get in touch with people? This way, you never ever have to have somebody question you. The rambling statement that Roger said about how the things were going on, nobody believes that. I mean, if they did, there wouldn't be 50 people at the council meeting or however emails that the mayor said that he got. Just why can't you overdo it somehow and then be able to document it? Either the mayor tried to put Roger on the spot by saying, hey, tell us where the public notice was, or they should have said, hey, I'm going to ask you this question when we get in there. Make sure you're prepared. And he wasn't prepared because what he said was gobbledygook, whatever you could hear from it. Why not overdo it? It would be the easiest thing to do.
Whenever we have to say we do an outside event of any sort in that public park, we have to send a written notification to all property owners within I think it's a 1 mile radius of the location.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody brought that up. Why haven't they done that? And their answer was, we haven't pulled the permit yet. So, do we have to wait till you get ready to build it before we're going to get notified that there's a change coming?
Right.
I didn't really jive with that answer.
So
and something like that is really going to negatively impact your business.
Absolutely. I don't want to, rough estimate would probably be loss of 10 to 15 jobs and probably
how do you figure that?
About $1 million in sales lost a year just by the view being completely blocked out and lack of visibility.
People sit there because they want to see what's going on.
It's not very inviting.
They'll just go somewhere else.
Maybe. Yeah. They won't sit there any longer. That's for sure. And they order another drink or just hang.
That's a lovely building.
Yeah.
It's a cute pink color. Looking at the cement.
Well, I think when you're, I don't know, I'm not a business owner, but when you're advertising, come down and have a view. If the view's no longer there, you can't really.
Yeah. I don't want to misinform anyone. It would not totally eliminate 100% of the view. It would on the second floor looking to the, I guess the northwest or the west.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second floor complete the first floor on the left side of the building would be blocked out.
So tell us about Nervous Nellies while you're here. What's going on down there?
We're back. We're open. We're really taking the social distancing serious. Sanitation is still our number one priority. But we're doing great. Sales have been up, actually, believe it or not, over last year. I feel like people who didn't get to come out for season and have kind of rescheduled it. We're doing very well. All the servers are doing exceptionally well in tips. People are being very generous.
What are your hours there?
We are open from 11 till 10.
So lunch and dinner.
Yep. Happy hour Monday through Friday, 3 to 5. $5 frozen drinks, $3 domestic bottles, $5 wells.
Do you have Blue Moon on draft?
We don't. Shock top, yes.
Oh, very nice. It's all the same.
And so people who don't know can drive down and walk up. Or you have a dock up.
We do.
Dock there, right?
You can boat in. During the whole close down for the quarantine, We were open a couple of weeks, and that was the majority of our business. Actually, was people floating in on their boats and having lunch with us.
Very
Nice.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. And
Yeah.
anything else you want people to know about the park area and how they can stay involved?
We are actually looking to start a park advisory committee made up of business owners and citizens. We're looking for volunteers. We have a few from the Harbor House, a few from Marina Village that are joining. We just really want to have the citizens and the business owners be able to give their input to town council so that situations like this can never arise. Really, just kind of the communication on our side will be better. To
This do you believe this is a dead project? This building? No way it's going to be
the
built.
way it's designed now. I just don't see it. I don't see it as a good location. It's the only view that we have of the Back Bay in a public park. Why build a 45-foot building or any building for that matter that would obstruct the views?
Great. Any other
No, I think
parting
we're good.
shots for Tyler? Thanks so much for
Thank
coming
you
on,
guys.
man.
I really
I want
appreciate
you to
it.
Thank you
take
so
that with
much.
you. It's a parting gift.
Okay.
How about
Business.
Tyler from Nervous Nellies there,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget you got my pink headphones on your
Yeah.
neck there. I don't want you to get choked on the way out. And we just have a couple other quick things to go over, wife. Thanks a lot to Tyler, and thanks a lot to the folks out in Columbus, Natalie and Todd. I keep looking at my paper because I don't know where I got Bob Richardson from. I wrote Bob on the
I had
Facebook
it
page.
too.
Somebody correct me,
I
but
had it.
I'm going to make
You
sure I
probably
say
got it from me.
Todd's
I
name the right
apologize.
way. So we appreciate everybody coming on today. What a great show today, dear. You did an
Yeah.
awesome job. But I also wanted to talk about the Bay Oaks thing. You have to stay involved, everybody. Now that you're involved, you have to stay involved. And Bay Oaks is a major, major project. And one of the things the mayor said, which I agree with, at the council meeting was that if you're all going to be here and be against this one, we hope that you'll be for something like Bay Oaks. And they're really putting together a major plan for Bay Oaks. And the one thing I want to say that was very confusing, other than the fact that Roger is demeaning to people on the committee, that's the way I felt, the way he was
was your
talking to them. You
opinion,
need to
yeah.
make a decision now. You need to decide now, because the thing that is funny to me is, like he said, we've got these rates at the bank now, and they're not going to be the same rates. Well, maybe they'll be better. Does that mean they're going to be worse? Like he was trying to push them on. You need to decide now because we got these bank rates and we can't get any better rates. These are the best rates. But besides that, the thing that I was totally confused about when it came to Bay Oaks was the council raised taxes last year for 3 projects: Times Square, Bayside Park, and Bay Oaks. There's like $10 million set aside for the projects, and he's talking about borrowing money. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I would like somebody to explain to me, if they put $10 million aside, is that Bay Oaks project going to cost more than what they put aside? That wasn't made clear. Like, they have to borrow money. So now, not only they raise your taxes, they're going to put the town in debt for whatever Bay Oaks turns out to be. And the other question is, I don't think there was ever a discussion yet. There's going to be a kickoff meeting for the Bay Oaks thing. It's a public meeting, but do people really want all that in Bay Oaks? Do enough people use that facility? And I know some people do.
I don't know. My impression from what we've heard is that yes, that there are many people that are very interested in getting that facility,
No doubt it's
redone
outdated.
and
No doubt it's outdated.
Working. I mean, it's a lot to work out because they got to work with the school, they got to work with the county, and then their own selves. But I don't think people should be rushed to make a decision, but I also think you can't keep going back and rehashing stuff, or you won't ever move forward. And I think everybody's opinion should be considered, but in anything, not everybody's going to be happy with what comes out. Everybody's going to have to, on some part, probably compromise. But
I agree with you on all of that. I just felt like the staff was demeaning to the committee. I just felt like they were talking about, and I just don't think
now you will have to be pumped out every 3 days. The harbor master was there, and he's going to start keeping track of that. So you
right,
need to get pumped out.
I hope we're back on.
Call
Can you guys see us now? I hope we're back on. So anyway, there's a lot going on. We have a lot to tell you about over the next few weeks as well. So stay tuned to our Facebook page, and we hope you'll listen to the show every Saturday. I also wanted to tell you about Shuckers at the Gulf Shore and the Cottage Bar, one of our favorite places here on Fort Myers Beach. And they've got this really cool tiki cabana hut that they just installed during the COVID-19 that we need to go down and see. And so Shuckers at the Cottage Bar, they are open every day at 8 a.m. to close, serving breakfast, lunch, dinner, a late night menu. They also have happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. featuring discounted liquor, domestic and imported bottled and draft beer, and classic food favorites. Come by boat or car. They have 3 venues and 1 historical place, so check them out as soon as you can. And one of the things I wanted to make sure you mentioned again was you wanted to thank the Fairy Pod Mother. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I want to thank her so much for coming on. I think what she does is awesome. I love that she's not only protecting the dolphins, but she's also involved with the pigs and the farm animal. So it's too far for me to go because it's in Ontario, I think she said, where the Esther the pig is. But I would like everyone to consider going and visiting her website and buying some of the books or the calendar and supporting that good cause. So she's out there every day on her.
And you said something about the meeting that you went to too, about the mooring field meeting.
No, I was just saying that I don't know a lot, but I learned a lot while I was at that meeting about the mooring field and about how they assign the balls and about, liveaboards and pumping out rates. And now the harbor master is going to require, well, I don't know if he's requiring it, but it's going to be mandatory that everybody get pumped out 3 days. Which seems reasonable to me. Like if you have facilities on your own boat,
I need it more than that.
You would need a pump out every day. And it's included if you're in the mooring field in their jurisdictional lines. And if you're not, I think it's $5.
Interesting.
A small price to pay.
Very interesting.
Flush away.
Very interesting. Boring. All right, everybody. So remember, there's a lot of stuff that will be going on, but there will be no meetings. The town council does not meet in July, and we wish you guys the best 4th of July. We will have a show on the 4th of July. We don't know who the guests are, but we do have Heather Fitzenhagen coming back on July 11th.
Yep.
And we also, next week, we have Jason Mon coming on. So a little bit of politics coming up during those days. Go ahead.
I do want to say that there was discussion at the Anchorage Advisory Committee about the whole meeting over the summer thing. And what I heard them say was that they were agreeing to meet July 15th. So there you go.
All right. And some of you know, we didn't get to talk about this, so we're just going to skip it, that the Bay
we're late.
Harbor building was approved. So that's going to be a huge facility right on the other side of the bridge on the way. And somebody you all know and love was at that meeting, and she got up and she spoke. And we're going to play a little tape from that meeting for you right now as we head on out of here.
I have to say something about the fishing industry since I own a shrimp boat and I'm in the commercial fishing industry. We are alive and well.
Boring.
I do very well.
Boring.
I pay my quarterly taxes.
Boring.
There is a net man because I pay the net man. I pay the diesel mechanic. I pay all these people that work on my shrimp boats.
I never realized how boring this game is.
They are alive and well. They're not a dying breed. I mean, it keeps me, in a home, and we do very well. We do very well. We do very well. I do very well. I do very well. I do very well. Me. The fishing industry, all of us, we follow the rules and the regulations. None of you would be able to make it. If you can't make it following the rules and regulations with Lee County putting books today, you would never make it in the fishing industry because we were regulated to death. Federally, statewide, locally. But we follow the rules and we make it. We love you, Frank, man. Everybody wishes you were our elected official in our communities.
Boring. Boring. You're boring, everybody. Quit boring everyone.
So everybody else is following these rules and regulations. It's not fair to give you can't take away property rights from everybody else to give one person extra property rights. Again, that's a government handout, and it's not fair, and it's not fair, and it's not fair. That's not what America is built on.